There's a clear paradox happening that seems really obvious to me in my experience of using AI, which is one, I truly am way more efficient. I really don't think it's fake efficiency. I'm legit doing the same exact tasks that I was doing before AI, and now I'm doing 3 times as many of them
Hmm.
and at equal or greater quality. And then on the other side, I'm working way more hours than I've ever worked in my life, on top of being super productive. And so, just like those two things simultaneously happening is crazy. And what feels crazier is that work is more fun in the midst of that too. I don't know if I would say I'm really excited to work the bonus hours, but I've had more moments of fascination and curiosity and accomplishment in my workday than I've ever had before in my life.
Welcome to the Identity Work Podcast. If you are a high achiever struggling to find purpose in work, then join us as we discover how to create more meaning in work and life. Welcome to this week's episode of the Identity Work Podcast. We are excited that you're joining us. Adam, it is good to see your beautiful face. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good as always, Steve. It's great to see you.
Good to see you too. And I'm excited for your energy. We're actually talking about AI at the front of the segment, not waiting until Trendspotter in the
Crazy.
back half of the segment to hear one of Adam's, thoughts on AI. And this is actually pretty relevant to me as I had somewhat of a frustrating experience. So today we are talking about AI, joy, the delights, and are we actually being more productive or just going into another black hole? I used to say that PowerPoint eats time. Now AI eats time.
Facts.
Adam, as always, what was the catalyst for you to write about this? And if you want to rearrange how I describe the topic, you're more than welcome to.
No, I think it's great. And the catalyst of talking about this was really two different articles that I read from newsletters about AI that were basically polar opposites, and realizing I'm just having this like very wide dichotomy of my experience with AI, or like there's a paradox. There's like a clear paradox happening that seems really obvious to me in my experience of using AI, which is one, I truly am way more efficient. I really don't think it's fake efficiency. Like all of a sudden we added email and now I feel like I'm doing 2 times as much work, but really all I'm doing is, you know, spinning up emails and talking to people. Like I'm legit doing the same exact tasks that I was doing before AI, and now I'm doing 3 times as many of them and at equal or greater quality, frankly. And I think that's true of other people I'm working with too. I get their stuff and I'm like, oh man, this is really good. Like, how did you come up with this? And the answer is like, oh, I spent 20 minutes asking Claude to do it, and it just had all of our brains in it connected. So on one side, I am feeling super hyper productive. And then on the other side, I'm working way more hours than I've ever worked in my life, on top of being super productive. And so just like those two things simultaneously happening is crazy. And what feels crazier is that work is more fun in the midst of that too. It's not like, I don't know if I would say I'm really excited to work the bonus hours, but I've had more moments of like just fascination and curiosity and joyful like accomplishment in my workday than I've ever had before in my life.
And is that AI? I mean, do you think it's AI driven? I mean, or how AI is shaping where you spend your time?
Yeah, it's almost all a reaction to watching Claude do something, to be honest. Is like I go into a 20-minute, I give Claude some task and I go into a 30-minute meeting and I come out and I'm like, it just did a whole day's worth of work. Like, and I didn't even pay attention. It just happened. And particularly, I think those moments of joy have come from walking into Claude with walking just like into work with assumptions. Like, I am a person who does this. This is part of my job, is doing these tasks. And then having some moment of thinking, I wonder if AI could do that. And then asking it, going to a 30-minute meeting, coming back and realizing this entire category of tasks that I used to do is now like gone. I'm never going to do them ever again. And it hasn't been stuff that was really fun. Or even if it was fun, it's like I'm like writing strategy docs, which I like. But now it's like I have a buddy. I've got to the point where I've started calling Claude my friend. I'm sure that's like a weird tech thing, but
Yeah, it's gonna
like it feels like I have a partner who is always there and always available and I don't have to schedule meetings with, who
kind
can
of always
work.
agrees with you until you,
Yeah, kind of always agrees with me.
which is a little dangerous.
And so yeah, I don't know. I just think it's been really it's been like a really fun experience. But again, I'm like working more and I'm not imagining that slowing down. And I also am feeling more pressure to work even more because I feel like everything around me is going so fast now. I've got to sprint even faster to keep up.
So do you feel like you're working more because it's just the volume of work going up? Like AI has made you more efficient, saved you time on one end, and then I guess it's just, do more with less. I mean, I guess do more with more.
Yeah, I think it's do more with more. That's right. Um, yeah, I think that collectively as an organization, our expectations of what we can achieve has skyrocketed. Like we go into annual planning and the conversation used to be, let's not overcommit. And now it's like, I don't think we could overcommit. Just to keep putting more things in here because you want to feel stretched to like try. Like the creator of Claude Code, Boris Cheney, I don't know how to say his last name, but something he said recently was you should intentionally like dramatically understaff projects because it forces people to use AI because there's no other way for them to achieve the goal. It's like a strategy that they're taking at Anthropic and how they deploy people to projects. And I think that's kind of been true for us. Is it's like, oh, I don't know how we're going to get this done. There's only one option, which is fully leaning into like basically doubling the number of teammates we have by half of them being AI agents. So yeah, I think
Tactically, do
that's
you live in on your day to day? Do you live in like the Claude chat? Do you live in Cowork or do you live in Claude Code?
I live in Claude Code now. Um, yeah, um, it's my like what I do at work is so different than what I did. And we're kind of like, diverging a bit from maybe the goal, and I'm like getting off on my AI soapbox, but I basically do everything that I do is through Claude. Like it's integrated to every system we have. Like my Slack messages, my emails, my every meeting transcribed, the place where we write docs, which is Notion, all of our code base, all of our data, etc. And so my tasks look like help me brainstorm this document I want to write, pull this data. Okay, now with this data, like listen to the last 10 meetings I had on this topic. Like, what did these people say about it? And then now write the Slack message explaining the decisions we just made, put it in this channel, read the messages that people were responding to in that channel and summarize them for me. And like all of it is just happening through Claude. I'm like almost never going to the documents themselves. So yeah, it just is fully consumed what I
Wow.
do on a day to day basis.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's what I'm like up to with AI. That's the world I'm living in right now, which is leading me to really think about like what is that mean? What's good about that? What's not good about that? The articles that I read, what I originally said, like prompted this was one was a Harvard Business Review article, which was more of a academic study type thing, which basically just found people are working more hours with AI. They're taking on broader scope, and that work is feeling more rewarding to them. And the second article was just a person's experience, which is basically just them saying AI is really fun, and also I can't sleep anymore because every minute I step away from like I could prompt it and then it could go work for 6 hours, and so like the efficiency that I get from an incremental 15 minutes of work is crazy. And so it feels like I can't ever leave. And so I wake up at 2 a.m. and I'm like, I need to go send a quick prompt to get it back on the train. And just that experience, almost like addiction.
Yeah.
It was the second article. So that's what prompted
Okay.
the
Yeah.
what I wrote.
Did you see the study too? I think BCG had one that kind of created some splashes in the news around like the brain fry. It's kind of like the law of diminishing returns of AI. Of once you spend too much time, it becomes your brain feels like it's fried. I don't know. Did you see that piece?
Tell me more. I have not read this.
Yeah, I don't know if I know more besides what I just shared. Maybe it'll be
Sure.
a future context.
You feel tired. You feel like exhausted from the
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit
Yeah.
like towards the brain rot, that's become our vernacular. And I do worry about
Yeah.
that somewhat is like, am I losing some critical thinking skills? Um, and or the team and or the next generation and our kids who kind of
Yeah.
have this um yeah, infinite amount of, tailored and personalized answered. But anyways, I digress. I was just curious if you'd read that. Because I resonate with all this. I feel like it's actually probably costing me more time on a day-to-day basis, but I am
Really.
enjoying more work. I feel like an email that I would have sent, like, now that just the expectations are higher, so now I'm like, "Should I improve this? Should I tweak this?" It's almost made me, like, a little bit more
More of a perfectionist.
yeah, perfectionist, but in the same sense, when I'm sending out something, like, I have more confidence in what I'm sending, even though I need to keep reminding myself it's programmed to generally agree with me, and so I can't, take it at its word, or I need to, prompt it to challenge me and push back and, that type of
Yeah.
thing. So I think it's enabled better output, but I'm spending more time on where I would have just sent an email. Now I'm like spending 15 minutes making it perfect, if you will. And then at the other sense too, I'm actually a very creative person, and I feel like I'm having a creative renaissance, if you will. I think I mentioned this before, but was able to actually like create a lullaby for my son that I like play every night using AI. And it's like, here's the verses I want to like sing, Bible verses I want to like sing and pray over them, and it's like created this song now that like never would have been able to do that without. And then at work too, right? We've collaborated on the strategy and story index, which is like a really fun creative avenue. And it's just like your point too, it's like a little bit of a buddy to like kind of brainstorm. But I feel like it's enabling me to have more meaningful work because I'm getting to like spend more time on the creative where none of that would have been possible before.
Man, that's so good. Yeah, I think that's a great way to say what I feel like I was trying to say earlier too. Like something is really fun, and a lot of it is it's like removing some of the parts of work I didn't like as much and letting me spend more time on some of the stuff I do like.
Yeah. But then it's hard too because it's like everyone's getting ahead and I hear you doing all these things and it's like, man, like we don't have any agents at Arvo. Like, how do we build those? How do we, like, do it? And we're getting there. I mean, we're getting there.
Yeah,
Um, but I am challenging the team, like, what are our repeatable tasks that we do, and how can we use
totally.
AI to make us more efficient on it?
Yeah, I feel the same way about
Yeah.
other people. The newsletters I read, I don't have any. The new in vogue thing is having like always on agents. Like my agent, when I'm talking about an agent, I'm mostly talking about like a static computer program that I've set up that does like very discrete tasks. The newsletters I'm reading at this point, they're naming them and they're communicating back and forth with them in Slack like a human. They're working. They're not even like giving them assignments. They're coming up with their own tasks to do and like executing them. And they're running on separate computers, like in the cloud and all these things. So I see that and I'm like so far away from being able to. I feel like everyone just has their measuring stick, their benchmark from wherever they are, and they self critique and say they're not far enough. I think being maybe a bit farther than some, one of my takeaways has been the amount of effort it takes to be on the frontier is like X how much it takes to be in the first 5% of people. Like to go set up a Claude, open claw like agent right now is so painful. I spent an hour trying to do it and it was like, this is going to take me 10 hours. And even these programmers, you read the blogs and it's like, I spent 40 hours trying to get it to like work. And it like published my SSN on like Reddit. You're like, oh my gosh, this is like not okay. And then 3 months later, that you can just like sign up with Google and it works with no effort. It's like, I'm just going to wait 3 months till this is a lot easier. That's how I feel about Claude Code. 4
Yeah.
months ago, setting up Claude Code was like, huh, I don't have a programming degree. Then I did it a month ago and was like, oh, it took like 5 seconds. They fixed all the hard problems.
And when you're creating like agents, are you doing it in code? You're like saying, are you doing it?
I'm just saying, make an agent, please.
Okay.
It should do this.
And you're doing that in Claude
Yeah,
Code
yeah.
interface, not Cowork? Because one
I'm
of the
doing
things
that
I'm
in Claude Code for no reason, just besides like, I think Claude Code is willing to work harder than Cowork. I don't know if that's
okay.
a weird thing to say. Like Cowork kind
Yeah.
of gives up early, but Claude Code keeps pushing.
I hope someone from Glod's listening to this podcast and be like, these guys, I need to invite them on,
These
they need to come on
jokers.
the show to correct us.
Yeah, that's fair.
But no, I'm just curious, right? Because I'm trying to figure out, and I've appointed an AI czar on my team, and she's leading us through some training tomorrow. So I'm excited to see.
Amazing.
But we tasked her to start creating some agents, and so I'm just kind of tactically thinking about, yeah, how.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, it's good. This is a random thought, but this the thinking of like this dichotomy is leading me to think about this book that I read over the weekend called
Yeah.
4,000 Weeks.
Shout out to our listener, also
Yeah.
named Adam Duzlansky, who recommended a book, and then within a week, maybe 10 days, Adam Beasley has finished the book. So we
It's so
do love
good.
our listeners. If you suggest something, Adam will read it.
I will almost certainly read any book that's recommended to me on this topic. And this book is so good. It's like a must read. I wrote a newsletter about it. This podcast will come out before that newsletter does. So, when you get the newsletter
Just
down,
give us a spoiler. Give us the headline. Why was it so impactful? You've read
man,
67.8 books at this point.
it's like the opposite of a productivity life hack book. I think everything I've ever read about time management has operated with the goal of getting more done generally. This book is more like Ecclesiastes. It's like the secular version of Ecclesiastes, which is you're never going to get it all done. And in fact, doing more is probably just going to reward you with even more to do. And so you should instead
And if you
enjoy.
get it all done, does it really matter?
Yeah, and if you get it all done, it doesn't really matter. So instead, you should enjoy your life. There's lots of things that I feel like we could talk more about wide ranging parts of the book. When I'm sure we have this conversation again off of that newsletter, because I love the book so much, I'd love to talk about it twice. The part of the book that I feel like is really relevant to this conversation is this is going to be kind of heady and philosophical, so apologies. But he would argue that the more efficient we get, the more frustrated we get with the fact that things take a long time. So, like when we were operating in a horse and buggy, we had way more patience with travel generally than now we do with planes. Like a 20-minute delay on a plane drives us nuts, but a like 5-hour delay on a horse and buggy is like, whatever, not a big deal. Like I'm having a good time anyways. And that's true with technology too, is like, with a flip phone, a text message, someone responding to a text message in 2 hours is whatever. But now if a website takes 10 seconds to load, you like close the window, try it again, close the window, try it again. You like are just unwilling to accept a 10-second delay in your technology. And AI is 6 months ago, it was unfathomable that AI can do what it can do now. And today I'm looking at this thing that it's doing 4 hours worth of work and it took 7.5 minutes, and I'm like escaping it, being like, what the heck are you doing? This is taking forever. Like you must be doing something wrong. And his argument is that we fundamentally we hate the fact that we are finite. We want to be infinite. And anything that reminds us of the fact that we're not infinite and can never be infinite, we hate. But the faster things go, the closer we get to feeling like we might be able to become infinite. And so but then when we're not, the more frustrated it makes us because it seems more achievable, it seems closer. And I really feel that with AI. Sometimes I'm like, man, this is powerful. Like I feel like I'm 10 people in one person. But then it takes an extra 45 seconds and I'm like, no, I'm human. And like that output was terrible. And dang it, I'm not infinite. Yeah. And so I feel like I've been sitting with that sort of reminder a lot in the last couple of days after reading this book.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a good reminder to have. All right, well, we won't spoil won't spoil too much since we'll have a whole episode dedicated to it. And I guess one thing I wanted to talk with you too, we've been talking theory, but could you just give an example of like a something where you do where you feel like you have 10 people working for you, or like an example of like how you've eliminated 4 hours of your day to make it a little bit more tangible?
Yeah. And it might be kind of focused on payroll technology. I don't
Okay.
know. Well, this is not a way that I've saved a ton of hours. It was something I did in my personal life that I thought was really interesting. Was I gave two quick examples. One, I had to send an email to my apartment complex management arguing that I shouldn't have to pay vacant gas fees because my gas never got set up. My gas never got set up because basically like the gas company and my apartment management company like didn't agree with the address of our building. And I was just sort of like trying to make them talk to each other. And I was trying to argue why I shouldn't have to do this. And assembling that email was like searching through my entire email inbox for like, 6 different emails to 3 different email addresses are scattered across 5 months of time where I just wanted one paragraph saying, this is like the 4 things that happened in the story and why I'm not at fault. But it would have taken me 30 minutes to try 12 different searches of different random words that I think I sent in those emails. And instead I just asked Cowork to like pull the story that happened and here's generally what happened. And it wrote a great email and sent
Yeah.
it. And that was great.
Yeah. It's great.
So yeah, that's an example. Another very classic example is I had to organize a bunch of my folders on my computer. That's a pretty classic example, but I had stuff. I had like 50 folders from kind of like every stage of life. You have new sets of folders,
Yeah. Yep.
and I never aggregated those folders up, and so I had 30 folders from TCU about like different classes that were on my highest level of hierarchy page of my computer. So I'm going to look for my taxes and I got to scroll through 50 folders, 15 of which have start with the letter T and like read to find it. I just told it to organize my folders and 20 minutes later I came back and everything was in nice clean buckets. A simple example.
Yeah. No, I haven't. Yeah, I didn't know it does that yet. So it's helpful. Yeah. Great. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. What else did we not cover? Or just do you want to talk about that you're super excited around AI?
No, I think that probably came through pretty clear, I suspect. No, I think we covered it pretty well. We didn't talk that much about the like existential dread of falling behind. We talked a little bit about that.
Oh,
I
yeah, I guess
definitely,
we didn't talk I just voiced it. I
yeah,
feel
I
but
think it's a really
like
real
AI is
fear.
just another thing to keep up with, and as opposed to like another social media channel, you need to figure out like AI is another industrial revolution type of a moment, and so there's just pressure of
Yeah.
being on the forefront and falling behind. So tell me about that because I feel that.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel it too. I certainly feel it too. I think that there's lots of doomsday stuff out there and it feels as realistic of any doomsday things I've ever read. And I didn't really buy that when I was 5, Y2K was going to bring us down, but I buy this a little bit. Um, so I think there's part that's like worry of what the world is going to look like. There's also parts that, most people are not thinking about AI at all. It's just like a Google machine.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I look around and everything I read is someone further than me that's doing more than me. And AI is this exponential compounding machine. It's like, feels like they're not just doing more than me. They've created clones of themselves. And now there's 5 of them that are all doing more than me. And those clones are going to create clones. Like the CEO of NVIDIA said that in the next 2 years, they're going to have 100 agents per person working at NVIDIA, like fully autonomous agents. That's like, that's insane. I barely manage one agent, much less 100. And so you read that and you're like, I'm so far behind that. I'm screwed. And they're gonna get faster and faster. They're gonna become this like AI overlord class of people that can think circles around me. So I don't know. I feel the fear.
Yeah. I know. What do we do about it?
Yeah. I think all you can do is be like grateful for where you're at. I don't know.
Yeah, we need to remind ourselves and practice what we preach. So, like, what have we learned? But yeah, be grateful with where we're at and keep learning.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's certainly all you can do is just like accept where you are and try to take a step forward and not be so critical on yourself and remind yourself where you exist. I saw a graphic that was really encouraging to me a couple weeks ago. That was like a giant page of squares, tiny squares. It's like 80% of them are white. I'm gonna mess this math up. 18% of them are green. One is yellow and like one is red or something. It's basically like breaking all of the people on Earth down into who has never heard of ChatGPT, who has like signed up for the free version, who is on a paid plan, and then who is like ever used an agent or something like that. And
Oh, interesting.
if you've ever, or basically, if you're on a paid plan of any AI tool, you're in like the 0.5% of AI users in the world.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Can you put the
Like,
link
and
to this in the show
you've
notes?
probably done way more than just be on the paid plan. You're like playing
Yeah.
with stuff, you're experimenting, you're like doing trainings with your team, we built a website that uses a like proprietary project that assesses company strategies, like pretty
Yeah, but
far
you
ahead
did
too.
that for me. I guess
No,
that's
no,
the
no.
other
You
thing
did all
too.
the
If I
work.
can't do it, find people who can help.
Yeah. I also really think that the ease at which it is to do this stuff is radically decreasing in a way that's like it's like the internet, you know? I don't know. I feel like you read all these stories in business books. I don't know, that's a dumb phrase. You know, I don't know, business books where you go look at Jeff Bezos and he, you know, his interview on in his driveway when he's 24 and he's talking about like, have you heard of this thing called the internet? And I'm going to sell books on it. And everyone now flashes back to this guy being like, you know, a psychic wizard of where the world was going. But I think the people that were in the middle of it, it was not, it wasn't like they were making a huge bet. Like, it was pretty obvious. This is like going to be a big thing.
Yeah.
That kind of feels like what AI is. And this is now my version of like massive world change that I'm in the middle of. It just feels really obvious. Like, oh, this is going to change the world dramatically. All of our interactions are going to really radically change on that. And every one of the past ones of those has been like pretty good. I'm like grateful for the internet. It's awesome. So I'm feeling confident that it's going to be good and trying to remind myself of past big innovation-y things and how now everyone uses the internet and no one's got a monopoly on the internet or feels like they're, you know, 100x better at the internet than other people or, you know, there's probably some people that are, but for the most part, everyone out there feels like they're pretty good at it. And I think that's where AI will get eventually is just like, yeah, that's pretty easy and everyone likes it and it's good.
Okay. Well, it's good. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for giving me the floor to like rant about my passions for AI. It's fun to get to talk about.
I love it. Some of our
It's fun to get to
frequent
talk about.
listeners often talk about like Adam's so energetic whenever you talk about AI.
I know. I'm trying to pitch Steven on this becoming, I don't know, AI identity and work, you know? We got to throw an A in there somewhere.
Our listener numbers will
Either
will
skyrocket or
shoot.
plummet, one of the
Yeah, I
two.
don't know. Seems like anything with AI. Maybe there's a little AI fatigue. But you have to keep talking about it because it's changing the world every single day. So it's good. I like that. Identity and work. AI.
It's hard to say, but if you write it out, I think it would hit for sure.
Yeah, thanks for writing this piece. I mentioned to you that, it resonated with me. So I was excited to unpack it some because I do feel like I'm actually spending more time using it. It's not making
Yeah.
me more efficient. but I'm also enjoying my day to day a little bit more. And I think it's important
Yeah.
for us to continue to unpack because the internet changed how we do work. Email changed how we do work, right? So much of people's like working worlds on email. And so AI will change how we spend our time at work, which will change where we find a meaning. And so I think it's good to keep unpacking as we try to figure out what life's about, what work is about. And it's fun to be on this journey with you.
Yeah. It is fun. It's very fun. I'm grateful that we get to do this. I'm grateful that, whatever, 2 years ago, you sent me a very random text that said you wanted to talk about this newsletter I was writing. It's made it a lot easier, I think, to walk through seasons of really big change and feel excited and grounded for the future versus sort of more easily blown by the wind.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel like you have too much of a burden to like have a meaningful work day now?
I do feel like we haven't talked like in the meta way of like how has this podcast impacted us in a
Yeah.
while. I really think that this is like one of the most important things that I do in terms of my happiness in life. That's a pretty big statement, but um I think there is certainly some pressure to have a meaningful day at work. And now I write LinkedIn posts about meaningful moments and like that feels, like every week I kind of need to manufacture some magic experience that happened. But my main experience of doing this podcast and newsletter is it just is such an amazing reminder that work is already meaningful and that pains in work are very normal. And I think without a I don't know about a platform, but like a rhythm of thinking about this as often and deeply as I think about it and get to talk about it, it would be easy to forget that and to fall back into this sort of, I don't know if echo chamber, but like this unprocessed feeling that something needs to be better. It would be really easy to sink back into. And I think every week showing up and verbally talking about how it's there's bad stuff happening, but I'm still enjoying it has just sort of moved the knowledge that of what meaningful work looks like from my head into my heart in a way that it feels more real than I think it would if I didn't talk about it as often as I do.
It's good.
So I don't know. What about you? How is this podcast doing this influenced the way that you think about work on a day to day basis or the meaning you feel in it?
Mm. Yeah, I resonate where I feel like it's removed the pressure for me to find the dream job. Like, I feel like my whole career has been like, "Oh, not there, a little bit closer, not there, a little bit closer, not there," and it's all about, like, until you find it, and I guess I've released that there is no dream job, and there's gonna be, yeah, pain, back to the Brendan Marks 80%.
A lot of blah.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of blah, and so I think I've removed that expectation of, like, the need to find the dream job. I think it's also, yeah, I guess I just put so much pressure on myself and I have all these thoughts. And so to have an outlet to talk about it and process with you and then our amazing listeners who shoot me texts and, have side conversations about the topics we're having is really encouraging. I also think it's changed my mission. Like I've put it into like our my vision for my company. We have like what I want to do of creating a new category of a consulting company and then also creating a workplace where our team members leverage their strengths and thrive in a vibrant community. And that goes into like how is meaningful work created? It's when we're being deployed in our strengths and doing it with people we like. And then also not killing ourselves with crazy amounts of hours and knowing that we have an identity outside of work. And so it's changed the language that I use to talk with my team about and the vision of our firm. So I think those are some of the biggest takeaways for me.
Man, I feel I feel really grateful for that. Really proud of that. We did those things.
Yeah.
We've both changed a lot in the journey.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess speaking of the journey, it is a journey, not a destination, which gets back to kind of the dream job framing and then trying to be thankful and have gratitude in the moment and being in the present as well. Thanks for asking. And now I feel the pressure to push harder on AI too.
But I'm glad I'm challenging you in that.
It's a good,
I would challenge everybody in it for sure. It's very
yeah.
fun. It's
Good
going to help
stuff.
you.
All right, Delve Deck.
This is the most stressful of the times.
What was popular when you were a teenager?
That's a softball question. First thing that came to my mind was Throwback Thursdays. I haven't had social media since like my freshman year of college, so I don't know if this is still cool. But when I had social media, every Thursday, the people were hitting some throwback photo of them in elementary school, and we were always talking about if people had a cool or a lame Throwback Thursday. So
Wow,
that was cool when I was a teenager. I
I
imagine
love
it's
it.
not cool anymore.
Yeah, I
What
don't
about
know.
you?
Well, what came to mind, there's a little bit of recency and bias, which I'll unpack. But do you remember, are you even old enough to remember TGIF, Thank Goodness It's Friday, and like Boy Meets World, and like would be on, even I think even Home Improvement was part of that. Kind of these quintessential 90s TV shows all aired on Friday evening.
Hmm.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I remember the saying, and I remember watching those shows very often.
Okay. So yeah, I would say that was popular when I was a teenager, and I read it in the Morning Brew. Shout out to the Morning Brew. That Mr. Feeney, the beloved teacher from Boy Meets World, is 99 years old today. So that also makes me feel old.
Dang,
So that's what I'm going for.
it's a good one.
A trend spotter. Anything besides AI that's trending?
Oh, man, like least hot take ever. TSA lines are super long. I don't know if anyone's flown recently, but it's supposed to, I think it's getting better now. I think we've solved the
Supposed to
problem.
get better. Yeah.
But I flew out of Atlanta a week ago from yesterday and sat in pre-check for 2 hours and was 10 minutes before my flight took off, got on the plane, felt very grateful, really, really grateful for that experience. Basically, I was in the line. I was supposed to go all the way down to the gate and then all the way back and then all the way down again before I would get there. And then all of a sudden it just became two lines and I skipped the whole back and forward part and I just got to keep walking. And I don't know where the second line, I don't know where the turnaround stopped, but I felt like an absolute miracle. So that's a trend spotter. I had a coworker who got to the airport in general boarding 4 hours before their flight and just didn't even make it to a TSA person.
No
Like
way.
sat in
In
line for 4 hours
4 hours.
and then went home.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
crazy.
I've
So
thankfully I've
it was
avoided.
real.
I fly next week, next Thursday, but so thankfully it'll
Yeah, I think he'll
calm down
be.
by then.
I think he'll be
Yep. Okay. Good. And what's the one thing you want us thinking about as we finish our commute home or finish a walk on the weekend?
so many things. So many things. I don't know. I would say just like go have fun with AI. Don't try to put pressure on yourself, but just like go play. I don't know. Experiment. Ask it to do something you think it can't do, and
Oh, speaking of which, well, I guess this will air after it comes out, but I had fun with AI because we have the strategy and story index that scores companies on how well and all the things. And so I asked it to do that for the top number one seeds in March Madness. And I said, which ones, teams of the number one, do you think has the best strategy? But they haven't been telling their story well. Therefore, they know I might actually be kind of like a hidden gem pick. So the model predicted Michigan over Duke.
that's looking like a
So
good pick. It's looking
yeah,
like a real good pick right now.
yeah. So go check out, maybe put in the show notes my LinkedIn post that where my strategy and story index model predicted Michigan, and we'll see if that happens. So that's a little bit of me having fun with AI.
I love that. I feel like that's going to be one of those posts that 3 months from now someone like surfaces and it goes mega viral, and people keep circling the timestamp of when you sent it, and
Maybe you can
that's my
reshare it this
my
week. That
vision
would
for you.
give some love to the post to help it for your
Yeah.
meaningful moment.
Did you? This is such a random comment. Did you see Kurt Signetti's daughter's post that was like
Yeah.
this?
No.
Kurt Signetti is the head coach of Indiana, who Indiana won the national championship this year, and he's sort of like currently proclaimed as this like absolute coach of the century sort of turnaround to take nothing Indiana to like 2 amazing years back to back. Anyways, he won the like D2 national championship or some smaller team national championship before he ended up in Indiana, and his daughter texted him and said, "Are you happy?" And he said, "No." Period. That was his like only response to his daughter's question of if he was happy after he won the D2 national championship. And he's known as being like a very grumpy, never smiles person. And she texted him again after he won the national championship and asked, "Are you happy?" And he said, "Yes," with 4 exclamation points. And she put those images of the messages together and posted it and said, "He's finally happy." And they got like, 10 million retweets or whatever. So, anyways,
It begs a good question, though.
you with
Does that
Michigan
make you
one day
happy?
for a little bit
Sure.
at least, I
Yeah,
suspect it
a
did.
little bit. Yep. Love it. Good. Well, it's fun. Well, we're excited to be here next week. We're starting to book out for some speakers. We're going to have author of the book called Radical Doubt, Professor Parmar from UVA, coming up later in May. And we have, Philip Carson with Cubic Capital coming up too. So it's going to be fun.
Nice. Yeah. If any listeners ever want to hang out and talk, hit us up, Um, would love to have some other guests too.
We love our super fans. Yep. All right. Thank you. Be blessed. Thankful for you. And we'll see you next week. This show has been brought to you by Arvo Advisory, a new category of consulting company, half management consultancy and half executive communication and PR firm. Arvo works with great leaders to craft and communicate their strategy to achieve change and create valuable companies. Find out more at arvoadvisory.com or follow us on LinkedIn. And finally, if you've been blessed at all by this podcast, please remember to rate and review the show or share it with a friend. And with that, go forth and know that you are loved because of who you are and not because of what you do for work. See you next time.